Hey everyone, in this video I'll be breaking down to you exactly how we did 240,000 euros only in upsell revenue. I'll be sharing with you some of the products that we upsold, as well as how you can structure your upsell pages, and also some of the other best practices that you can start following. So that being said, let's just jump right into it. First things first is that this was 100% post-purchase one-click upsell revenue. So this wasn't add to cart upsells, this was just post-purchase one-click upsells. Now, I've shopped with dozens of online stores and I can confirm that post-purchase upsells are severely underutilized. Not many online stores are using them properly, and if you do implement this properly, it can easily boost your revenue at least 5%, but even 20-30%, which is the type of boost that we were seeing just by using post-purchase upsells. Essentially, the main benefit of using post-purchase upsells rather than cart upsells or product page upsells is that it doesn't distract customers from the initial sale. So whereas add to cart upsells might kind of distract someone, they would go ahead and click on a different product page and they would leave and maybe not even complete a purchase at all. What you're basically doing with post-purchase upsells is that you're securing the sale first. So you already secure the revenue from the initial sale for whatever product you're mainly promoting. And then you go ahead and look at increasing your average order value by doing post-purchase upsells. So you're not kind of distracting people or taking people out from the normal checkout flow by offering them products beforehand. You only offer products them after they purchase, and that will make sure that your conversion rate stays high, as well as still boosting your average order value. What I see a lot of time is that if you have loads of different upsells or bundles on your product page, people might be put off from purchasing one specific product because they see the price of all the other products, or they just get overwhelmed by all the different products and they don't purchase at all. So basically what you want to do is just stop distracting your customer and just make sure they only focus on one specific product, and after they purchase that product and you've secured the revenue there, then you can go ahead and look at upselling them other items. The same thing actually goes for like the tip section on the Shopify native checkout. Essentially what people aren't realizing is that even though 1 in 10 people might be tipping them a couple pounds, they're actually losing sales from people who see the tip section and are dropping off. Same thing goes with upsells. You might think that upsells before purchase are making you revenue, but actually you might be dropping your conversion rate by a point something percent because people are being distracted by the upsell offer and then completely leaving. And that's basically why post-purchase upsells are perfect for maintaining or increasing your conversion rate in some circumstances, as well as boosting your average order value. So what do I personally use in terms of the actual app you use to do post-purchase upsells? Personally, I used to use Zipify One Click Upsell, but recently the app turned native on the Shopify's actual app store, and loads of limitations were put into place, so you can't exactly customize the checkout pages as much, so I don't use that anymore. But nowadays I stick specifically to BetterCart or CheckoutX, and essentially the main benefit of using these two is essentially you don't have to first of all pay the Shopify revenue fees, where if you're using Shopify's native checkout, you would have to pay them anywhere from 0.5% to 2% fees on your overall revenue, which is a huge percentage of your profit margin if you're operating at a low margin, of course. So you can kind of avoid those fees just because you're using a third-party checkout. And the way this third-party checkout works is it basically creates a draft order and turns it into a paid order. So you kind of skip those fees, which obviously if you're doing like $100,000 a month in sales, you're saving 1K in fees that you don't have to pay to Shopify just by getting one of these apps, which is less than $100 a month. So that's huge, of course. As well as that, you can obviously customize the checkout pages a bit more so they convert much better. And then obviously you have the post-purchase upsell element, which is where you can add extra 20-30% of revenue to your online store. So basically it's the absolute no-brainer for you to actually use one of these apps, especially if you're doing a high volume of sales, because you're saving money literally by downloading it, as well as adding in the potential of making more revenue in the future through these one-click upsells. But okay, so what are some of the actual products that you can look at upselling to your customers? Well, I'll give you 5 different examples of products that we've personally upsold to customers, and it's all about split testing. So you need to kind of test different offers, test different discounts, test different price points to see what kind of produces the optimal amount of profit for you, profit per user through your checkout funnel itself. But here's some of the offers that you can potentially split test. So the first thing you can do is you can try selling the exact same product that your customer purchased, but at a 10 to 20% discount. Sometimes this doesn't make sense if you're selling a product that people don't need 2 items of, then you can't exactly do this. But a lot of the time when a customer sees the exact same product at a slight discount, they might consider purchasing it again. And that's usually like one of the first things that we would do, first offers that we would offer inside the funnel. We always make sure we show at least 2 or 3 upsells or downsells post-purchase, because then we can maximize the amount of revenue we're making per customer. The second product you can try is more of a high-ticket product with a high profit margin. So this product will be $50 plus, or maybe even $100 plus, and it would have a high profit margin. Essentially, what you're trying to do here is that, let's say out of the 10 people that actually end up on this offer page and see this product, let's say it's $100 and you have a $70 margin on it, even if one of those 10 people purchase, you're essentially making $7 profit per person who saw that page. And obviously, if you're making an extra $7 profit per order per customer, you can spend that $7 on Facebook ads or customer acquisition costs, and you can easily scale up your ads more aggressively because you have more budget to actually spend on marketing. And obviously, the golden rule of marketing is that whoever can spend the most to acquire a customer usually wins the auction. So if you can make an extra $7 profit per customer, then obviously post-purchase upsells can completely revolutionize your business, and it can take you to a whole new level in terms of scale, because you can actually afford to spend more on advertising to outbid your competitors and scale more aggressively. So when we do offer something high ticket, we make sure that's one of the first offers inside of the post-purchase sequence. And then let's say if people do decline on that offer, we would go ahead and show either a variation of that offer or something that's similar, that has similar functionality, but much more lower ticket, anywhere from $10 to $20, also a lower profit margin. And we usually see a slightly higher uptake on this product than if we were to just show it isolated by itself, just because when people see a high ticket product and they decline on it, you would notice that the lower ticket product is actually not as expensive as it would usually seem, just because you're kind of removing some of that price sensitivity, because people have kind of the higher price in their mind. So when they say no to something that they want but it's higher price, then they see something that has similar functionality but it's low price, they're more likely to say yes to that lower price item, even if they wouldn't usually do it, just because they've been exposed to the higher price initially, if that makes sense. So what you basically want to do is make sure all your higher ticket offers in your post-purchase sequence come first, and then your lower ticket items come as downsells, where people decline the higher ticket offers. You'll notice that you have much better conversion rates on the lower ticket items when you offer the higher ticket items first. And obviously what you offer in terms of the higher ticket or lower ticket product completely depends on what your niche is. You need to find different offers that you can potentially split test between and see what makes sense for you. But it's all about testing. You want to maximize the amount of revenue or profit you're making per visitor inside your funnel. So as long as you're aggressively testing and constantly looking at improving the numbers inside your funnel, then you can make a huge impact to your bottom line at the end of the day, just by implementing a simple post-purchase upsell funnel. But okay, so the fourth item that you can offer is what I call 100% profit margin items. So this can be something like faster processing, which costs nothing for you. You're essentially processing an order faster or skipping it ahead of the queue that your normal orders would be processed at. It doesn't cost you anything, but you can easily charge a customer an extra $1 or $2 for something like this, and loads of customers will happily pay for it just so they can get their order 1 or 2 days quicker, and that's just a 100% profit margin item. Another item could be priority support. You can kind of bundle those two together, and you can easily make an extra $1 or $2 per customer. This would usually have a high uptake rate as long as your product is not like super low ticket. If the actual main product that you're selling is high ticket, then an extra $1 or $2 to process the item faster means absolutely nothing to the customer, so they're more than happy to pay for it. So 100% margins, they usually have high take rates, and it doesn't cost you anything to do. You just need to add some extra systems and processes into your business to make sure that you can fulfill on those promises. Okay, now the fifth thing that you can offer is consumable subscriptions, and this is a bit more complicated, it's a bit more advanced. For 95% of us, this won't apply, because for loads of dropshipping products, you can't really sell them on a subscription. But I have a private label beauty brand, and one of our products actually works in subscription. But it is more advanced to do. I would say probably if you're only a bigger brand, you can actually get it to work, just because the structure of doing something like a beauty box is a bit more advanced. So it doesn't apply for most dropshipping products, but if you do nail this funnel with subscriptions, you could see a huge LTV boost. And like I said, that allows you to spend more on customer acquisition costs, and then you can scale more aggressively. So subscriptions are huge. So loads of businesses have much higher markups just because they have subscriptions in place. And if you can get that funnel right and set up that structure properly, then subscriptions could be absolutely huge post-purchase. But okay, let's move on to how you should actually structure up your upsell pages. So like I said before, we ideally use something like BetterCart, just because it gives us full customization of the checkout page as well as the upsell page itself. The issue with some of the native apps, such as Zipify, which is now native on Shopify, there's also CartHook and a bunch of other apps, is that Shopify actually allows the customer to kind of exit the purchase flow after they completed the initial order. So unlike on BetterCard, where after placing an order, you would go to an upsell page, on Shopify, you would also see the upsell page if you use like Zipify. You'd also see the upsell page, but you can also leave the checkout flow at that exact point. And that gives, obviously, that causes a lot of drop off, because customers that think they can leave the checkout flow will obviously leave the checkout flow. So you want to make sure you obviously have as many eyeballs retaining attention on their phone when they go to the post-purchase page itself. And that's why we always use BetterCart or CheckoutX instead of one of the native Shopify apps. Also, if you use a native Shopify app, you can't save that extra 1% or 2% on the Shopify revenue selling fees that I mentioned before. So that's why you want to use one of these apps. You have to go to the actual BetterCart website. It's not on the Shopify App Store. You have to download it as a private app in order for you to use BetterCart. But again, you're saving a huge amount of revenue fees, as well as boosting your overall average order value, so it's a no-brainer. But essentially what you want to do is you want to position the offer as part of the checkout flow itself. So you don't want customers to think that the order is finished. You want them to think that they're still in the ordering process right now. What you can do to boost the conversion rate of your offer pages is just by adding usual scarcity and urgency tactics into your page. So time sensitive, or maybe there's urgency that the stock is about to run out soon, something like that. You usually see high conversion rates. But also you should also make sure that your language itself on the page makes it seem like the offer is specific and unique to that specific user. So we always use words like you, and we always make sure that the text itself, the copy itself, is kind of customized to the customer's initial purchase. So if they were to purchase X product, we would go ahead and say in the copy that this specific upsell is perfect complement product to X product, or something like that. So we make sure that each funnel, for whatever product funnel that we're upselling through, is always tailored to whatever the customer has purchased. We always use words like you to make the offer feel unique, that the offer is time sensitive, is just for that specific customer. And then obviously the customer is much more likely to go ahead and make the purchase for that product because they feel like the offer is more unique and specific to them. So that type of language and those type of products basically force a lot of impulse purchases, which obviously could be absolutely huge for your business, like I said before. Whatever product that we are upselling, we make sure there's at least a 20% off discount. Obviously, if you're dropshipping, you can do a much higher compare app price. If it's more of a brand, it's hard to kind of justify your products at such a high compare app price. So I would say minimum 20%. If you can put it at like 50 or 60%, it's going to be a bit unreasonable sometimes, so that's why we don't do it. But if you can do 20% minimum from the compare app price as a discount, then that would be ideal. Always make sure that also customers don't have to scroll a lot below the fold to understand what the product is itself. So obviously the add to cart button, which is the one-click button people need to click to purchase the next product, is above the fold. So if you make customers scroll a lot below the fold to read the description, then chances are that they might even drop off and not want to purchase. But if you go ahead and put like a GIF or something that quickly explains the product right at the very top, or even if the images for the product itself are clearly like explain what the product is and exactly how it works, so customers don't have to scroll a lot below the fold, and then you'll notice you have higher conversion rates. So make sure whatever you're selling is a kind of self-explanatory product, because you really don't want to have long descriptions on the upsell page. And just another thing I added in here is you want to make sure that the buttons itself that customers would click won't be the normal buttons that are set by default, which is usually like add to order or reject this offer. You want to make sure they're a bit more customized, so either they're saying something that, for example, for the add to order button, you could switch it to yes please I want this, or yes I want to accept this limited time offer, or something like yes I love it, give me one, or just anything like that that basically helps the customer not think about the price of the product when they're purchasing, but actually want to add the product to their cart anyway because they actually like the product. So even the reject button itself, you don't have to say reject this offer. You could say something like pass this offer to the next customer, and that kind of guilt traps them into thinking, oh wow, if I pass it to the next customer, like this really is like time sensitive, or this really was unique to me, so maybe I should take it. Something like that, just to make sure the customer kind of rethinks their decision, and the reject button kind of makes them feel guilty as to not accepting the post-purchase upsell, if that makes sense. So you want to make sure you don't use the standard buttons. Make sure you customize the text a little bit so the customer actually double thinks about the decision. And when they do make a purchase decision, you kind of disassociate the price tag from the product itself by making the add to cart button look a bit more attractive. So just to summarize there, you want to make sure that customers still think that they're in the purchase phase itself, that the order isn't complete, that they still need to complete a few more steps, either accepting or rejecting our specific offers. You also want to make sure that the language used on the page is a bit more personalized, that the add to cart or decline button is not necessarily saying just add the cart to decline. You want to make sure that the text is a bit more custom. You want to make sure that the copy on that page is using words like you, terminology that makes the offer seem more unique and specific to that specific customer. You don't want to be lazy and just have one specific upsell funnel for all your products. You want to make specific upsell funnels for specific products, at least your best sellers, just to make sure that the copy is kind of matching with whatever the customer has purchased. And you'll notice that small stuff like that would make huge impacts on your revenue at the end of the day. And obviously scarcity and urgency tactics, making offers time sensitive, countdown cards, that stuff usually always works. So make sure you have that on your offer page, as well as a clear discount that's a significant amount, not the usual price you would see on your Shopify store. An actual discount, 10-20%, ideally 20% minimum, but if you can do 50% or more whilst maintaining your margin, then that would be ideal. And obviously clear GIFs and images that explain the product without requiring a customer to go ahead and scroll below the fold and read the entire description in order to understand the product and then make a decision. Also, another side note, I do want to mention that even before the post-purchase itself, if you use some of the apps like Get Better Cart, you can basically switch the normal three-stage checkout that Shopify natively offers, which is where you type in your shipping info, then you select the shipping method, and then another page enter your card info. You can switch it out for a one-page checkout, which basically asks also all those questions and puts all the inputs for those fields on one page only, and you'll usually see a revenue boost when you do that. So it's good to just switch between a 3-page checkout to a 1-page checkout and just see what works better. If it doesn't convert as well, obviously you can switch it back. Most of the time when you switch to a 1-page checkout, you'll see that you have a higher conversion rate on most products. So make sure you test that out when you do get one of these post-purchase upsell apps. So what are some other best practices that I would recommend? First thing is that obviously if you're working at scale and you're selling more than one product, you have multiple winning products, I'd really recommend building out different post-purchase upsells funnels for each of your different products. So don't be lazy and just use one funnel for all your products, because chances are that if you have multiple winners, then there might be multiple upsells that work, like different upsells that work for different products. So change it up, split test aggressively, like change everything from price points, the colors, the pictures, the GIFs, the descriptions, the discounts. You want to test everything on your post-purchase upsells just to make sure you're maximizing the revenue that you're making per user. And like I said, even if you can squeeze an extra $1 or $2 profit per user that enters your funnel, that can literally help you scale an extra 10-20% on Facebook ads, increase your budget by that much every single day, just because you can afford to spend more on cost per purchase. So it's absolutely huge if you nail this correctly. And obviously if adding post-purchase upsells to your business can boost your revenue 20-30%, then you can basically switch between not profitable and super profitable just like that. So this is absolutely huge. I would really recommend you explore getting a post-purchase upsell app. Again, Better Cart is the one that I personally use, and just test out different products. Test out 2 or 3 different upsells or downsells that you can add to any specific purchase funnel, and just see how much extra revenue you can actually add to your store simply by implementing this one specific app. But yeah guys, so that's basically the structure of exactly how we did $240,000 in extra revenue specifically from post-purchase upsells. Our conversion rate on our store was like 4%, even higher than that really. So we were basically able to maintain a high conversion rate on cold traffic, whilst also boosting our revenue. I think this was an extra 20-ish% of revenue boost just by using post-purchase upsell. So it's absolutely huge if you get it right. I would really recommend just split testing, really aggressively split testing loads of offers and products, making sure you can maximize your post-purchase upsell revenue per customer, and it could do absolute wonders for your business. So that being said guys, hope you did enjoy the video. Make sure you drop a like down if you did. Any questions, feel free to drop it down in the comment section down below and I'll happily respond to you. Or you can also send me a DM on Instagram at _Philip19. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, then make sure you do, because I'm sharing helpful e-commerce videos like this I've done over the past 5 years now. So you don't want to miss out on that, make sure you do subscribe. And with that being said guys, I will see you on the next video.
Focused on my business, boss life, academics, tracking progress like Fitbit. Got this office and we killing it. Lifestyle is limitless, got love for life and we live for this.